ready to go?
It'll be about a minute and you'll be on the interwebs.
But
It takes a minute to start up.
I can't see myself.
I thought you were going to stand.
No. It was only a test. I'm going to sit.
Oh, I can move it.
Don't be getting awkward with me now, Christian.
Okay.
Okay, I'll stand. Here we go. My reticence about standing is due to the number of staff complaints about the view of my nasal hairs the last time I tried to do this in camera. So, thank you very much, Tim, for giving me the trimmer. That's very helpful. Right. Okay, gents. Well, okay, should we go? Is it okay, go? Yeah. Okay, thank you all very much for coming today. We've had 2 recent board meetings. November one essentially is kind of it's just a normal run-of-the-mill one, whereas the December one tends to be dealing with objects which we don't make decisions about, but which are fundamental to what we do. So we did a presentation this at December board, which I'll start with, which is about voids, and I'm going to sit straight over to the very well prepared Becky Hoggins to tell us all about it. Get on with it.
If anybody's not aware, we enhanced our void standard over the last couple of years, where we're now doing full decoration throughout all of our properties and offering carpets in our flats. So we presented it to board last year and they approved us to do another 12 months, but we had to go back and prove that it was sustainable for our tenants and they were wanting to remain in the properties. So Amy, Brian and myself took a presentation where we were able to prove that we're still completing them within our target budget of 3,200. We're actually coming in less than that. We can still complete them within our 24-day target, and the tenants are pleased that we're decorating the properties for them. They want to stay in the properties. We need longer really to prove the sustainability, and we compared ourselves to our peers as well, and that proves that we're very good at what we're doing. We're quicker than some of our peers and more cost effective and offering the top standard of product. So I think board were happy, and they've approved us another 12 months now to continue at a £3,200 target per void, and next year we need to evidence that we've got a better life cycle cost of our properties really. So if we're putting all this money in when it's empty, we want to hope that we're reducing our responsive repairs and kitchen and bathroom maintenance and things like that as well. So we'll be back at the next Christmas. Yeah,
it's very interesting. Just because I get Mike to come in here now, because we're having a quick chat. A lot of you won't know that we do five-year electrical tests in our properties. And do you want to have a quick chat about the conversation you and I had about Di, what he said to me?
We was talking about the general condition of the properties, and how we was quite surprised how we were finding so little general repairs with broken sockets. Find more repairs where there's a fault on the circuit, but as for general repairs, finding that the property's in good condition. I think this is because when we brought up the WHQS, all the accessories was changed, and I think people are looking after them better anyway, and we pleasantly surprised how little repairs we don't carry out.
Yeah, because one of the things I wanted to reference that there's an additional cost which we've had to bear, which we didn't have to do before, because only recently. How long have we been doing the 5-year test, Mike?
Probably about 4 years now.
Yeah. So these are kind of like you're obliged to do them. It wasn't something we did before. But I thought it was a really good example though, when we've spent all this money in the plan programme, at which point were we going to start making savings. And it was interesting talking to Dave today that he said how little work they have to do when they do go in. So therefore, we've had the additional cost of having to do the inspection, but at least we're doing a lot fewer repairs when we get there. I mean, what Becky failed to mention, and I am disappointed, about the voids, is that we're spending about 70 or 80 quid less per property on average than we did last year. But in the interim, over the same period, our staffing costs have gone up by 5%, and the materials of costs have gone up by 5%. So despite those two costs gone in there, in real terms, we're doing from about 5% cheaper, a little bit more than we were this time last year. And I thought that was an important point, and I don't ever want you to mess about like that again, okay?
We're also doing less repairs in the floor.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that quickly, Becky? Thanks, Dave, because it's beginning to get a little humiliating for Becky here now.
Before the enhanced standard back in 2014-15, we looked at, after a tenant is let, how many repairs we were carrying out in a 3-month period. So before the enhanced standard, it was averaging 3 repairs within 3 months. when we looked at it for the last 6 months this year, it's actually less than 1 repair. It comes in at 0.8. So we're reducing the amount of times we're having to visit the properties as well. And at the end of November, our average cost is actually £3,142.
Okay,
So
you went from looking like a fool a minute ago to being very smug almost immediately, but we're used to these swings with you, Becky, aren't we? Some of the other thing we thought were interesting, when we showed the board, was the quality, the way the tenants maintained the properties 9 months into the tenancy. Because before, when we gave them the property, and the property did look in poor condition, despite the fact the essential repair and maintenance, health and safety works being done, after about 9 months the property still didn't look great. And the things that what we did was we showed the board how well they were looking after the properties 9 months in. One of the things we find, with say with Katrina and Helena and the girls on the employment side, is when you give people a chance at all. You know, a lot of these are people who are used to not getting opportunities. When you give them a chance at all, they will grasp it and they will do something different. They're no different. The people who go into our property, they're no different to anyone else who goes in. If we give them a decent property, if you look on our new estates, the brand new properties we let, none of the properties look a mess. Everybody sees they've had a once in a lifetime chance with a brand new property, and they make a really good effort. People in Oakley Way, when they're moving from their existing properties, which frequently don't look great, but we put them in one that's been done up and looks fantastic, they start treating it that way. Now we haven't released the results of the tenant satisfaction survey yet, and although we've got a way to go still in Oakley Way with the tenants, the increase in satisfaction levels are incredible compared to what they were before, because they feel we're treating them with respect now and we're treating them properly, and all of a sudden, amazingly enough, you start getting some of that back. Now I know we've got some staff who don't do that well, and I was talking to one of our duty officers yesterday about some of the stuff that she said to tenants on the phone last week, and I was very disappointed, Suzanne, wasn't I? I was very disappointed with you, wasn't I? I was very disappointed. In one property where the electricity failed, but the tenants said they were drunk, Suzanne more or less told them to be okay until the morning. You know what I mean?
She's going out to get drunk.
Oh, she's going out to get drunk. Yeah, well, okay. As long as buy yourself a torch when you're out, love. You know. But you know, listen. I'm being facetious, but certainly if we do it properly, and this is the interesting I felt at board, was about their attitude to what we do with the voids. And amazingly enough, the staff survey we did a few years ago, I was quite taken aback that people weren't as positive about what we're trying to do as I thought they would be. But I think all of that's changed now. Everybody gets it now that you should go out. Interestingly enough, the DLO are much prouder of the work they do now when they leave the void than they were a few years ago, because they know they're leaving something in really, really good shape. I mean, there is some flying the items about the properties. I mean, certainly it's interesting talking to the housing officers upstairs who are doing the tenancy health checks. And that's going really, really well. Actually, Dave, do you want to say some of the stuff that you said to the board about the tenancy health checks, about the 85% on the rags?
I was going to say they are, so the tenancy health checks are, we're trying to get around all of our tenants, but it will take us at least 5 years actually, because we're noticing that it's a usual 80-20 rule, so we only engage with about 20% of our tenants usually, and we'd like to connect with the other 80%. So we're doing a visit to everybody, and we're rag rating that visit, and so far I would say at least about 85% are green, which means.
And that's sure. I want to emphasise that these are people in our properties that are treating the property with respect, and as a result, their area. You know what I mean? It really gets my pig and nerves, the public perception. You know, about a welfare street, whatever that bullshit program was called. The vast majority of our tenants are actually out there, despite the fact there might be some vulnerability with a lot of them. But 85% of them are coming back as if they're doing the right thing. Yeah, sorry, keep going, Dave. Sorry.
So they don't need any further visit. They don't need any support really. So
and what, we won't go back then for 3 years then, is it?
Or more than that probably.
Yeah.
By the
Okay.
time we get around everybody, and then we've got about 10% that are probably amber, so
Yeah.
they are needing some support. They need a bit of a follow up, and then we've only got about 5% that are red that will require further visits and more intensive work. So that goes. That profile does fly in the face of everybody's perception of what social housing.
I love it. Well, in one sense, I'm not surprised.
No.
You know, because they always use the 10% rule. You know what I mean? And Dave is a bit over generous with his 20%. I mean, 10% of people give us 90% of our work. It's just like with staff, right? At any one time, 5% of the people are taking a bit of the piss, but at any one time, 1% are taking the complete piss. You know what I mean? But that's the same with tenants. That's about the stats that run, and that 1%, that's still 36 tenancies. where we've got really serious problems going on at any one time. You know, even within that 5%, only a few of them would be very, very extreme. And because they're just normal, just like anyone else, normal folk, and trying to do the right thing. And I certainly, the interesting one I think at the moment though, on the back of that, with the one I'm keeping an eye on, is because Tim is spending money hand over fist on the garden programme. Tell us how that's going at the moment, Tim.
Very well, Joe.
Keep going, Tim.
Well, it's going very well. I think most people are pleased with what we're doing. I know you're not pleased with the cost. We are looking at
That is my job, Tim.
We're still finding that the biggest proportion of the cost when we're going to do this work is putting right what tenants have already done. And unfortunately, I'm not saying we've allowed this to happen, but it's not been, if you like, taken up kind of thing with tenants. We've got a lot of work out there which is in very poor condition, doesn't meet any kind of regulations at all, and that's where a lot of the high costs are, is taking out what's already been put in.
Yeah, so a lot of this is health and safety kind of worked in, Tim, is it? Yeah. And it's interesting though that like Tim has been with us a long time, been through all the phases of WHQS, but you found this the hardest, haven't you?
We have actually. This has been the hardest programme, the most contentious for tenants. Working inside their homes and doing kitchens and bathrooms.
Ripping them apart for a month, isn't it?
It was far easier than this. We have a lot more problems with the outside of the properties. Tenants have got greater expectations than sometimes what we can deliver.
Yeah, it's interesting because the one I have my bee in my bonnet is about the booklet. We've produced this booklet about the external works, and my God, I mean, if you had somebody coming out doing that to your house, you would love it. We've given these absolutely picture perfect properties, haven't we? You know what I mean? And in one sense, I think that might give you a bit of a problem, because the pictures we've used in it, and we have done the work, and it looks absolutely amazing. It does look amazing. And when Tim and the guys go out then and they don't give the same thing, well, of course, straight away you're going to have a problem. I mean, I think we can certainly show pictures which show us doing a really good job. But I mean, some of the stuff, I mean, are better than putting greens on a posh golf course, you know what I mean? And when you see somebody else got that and you didn't, you're going to be fed up. But on the other hand, listen, it's a really important programme, because there's a lot of properties out there with health and safety issues in their garden. And a lot of the tenants that Tim and the guys do work with are elderly. This work could have been done 15, 20, maybe more years ago, Tim, wouldn't it? And people with fads and fashions have done some mad stuff in their gardens, haven't they? Tell us some of your favourites, Tim.
Come to mind, I suppose there is a few. I suppose number 62 Kaiwa Road, I won't say a name, but we had some very challenging things down there, I think, like, you know.
What would constitute challenging for you, Tim?
Well, I suppose the crux of it was the tenant.
Yeah, I know, and it's that relationship. I think it's the boundaries. What's been the issue with the boundaries? Because it's been about delineating the boundaries, hasn't it?
We have a lot of issues with boundaries between properties, especially because obviously a lot of properties are now being sold. So you've got a housing association next to a private. A lot of people are under the misconception that looking from the front, you own the boundary automatically on the left side of the property. It's not the case.
So what is the case, Tim?
The case is as is marked when it's sold. And unfortunately, when Monmouthshire County Council sold the properties, in a lot of cases they didn't mark the boundaries up. So we have a lot of issues with boundaries. We have to go on the land registry and check the conveyance of them. If there is no documentation, we have to go back to Monmouthshire County Council to see if they've got original copies. Again, if there is nothing, we have introduced the policy that in plan maintenance we will accept that that's a shared boundary, as long as the private owner is prepared to do that. Now, probably 9 out of 10 we've had no problems. We've had the odd private person who won't accept because they own the other boundary. They automatically think we own that boundary kind of thing, but it's just not the case.
Yeah, and so you know, there we were all thinking that we're just going to go out and relay a few patio slabs, and it's just like anything, because we're dealing with people and we're dealing with properties. Everything ends up a lot more convoluted and difficult than we started out with. Okay, thank you very much for that, Tim. You know, spend less, spend it better. But it is like we're spending the budget is £1.2 million on that this year, and we've got about at least another 3-4 years worth of work as well, don't we? Yeah, more. Thanks for that, Tim. So you see, you see my Tim. How can you cover the microphone? Okay, see you later, buddy. Okay, so listen, not to induce the birth, but we're going to get married to talk quickly about the data protection and where we are with that, because you're going away shortly. So tell everyone quickly what we got to do before you go.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! Oh, settle down, everyone. Ready for the ride.
Okay, so in May, these protection regulations are changing. The changes aren't massive on an operational level. That basically just mean that we have to demonstrate much more that we comply with basically how the Data Protection Act as it is now. Oh gosh, there's too many things to go through. So I'll just say
frontline impact.
Yeah. Okay. So keep information safe is the first thing. So when you're taking information out of the office, make sure that you take as little information as possible, and just always, obviously, try and keep it safe. Clear desk. Don't leave anything else on your desks. Always lock it away when you're not in the office or when you're not around. And lock your computers.
So just one quick thing. So part of the changes upstairs that we've done is to help us comply with the Data Protection Act going forward. So that's why everyone's got a locker now, where we've got a clear desk policy, where everyone's we want people to do all the work on a computer rather than on paper if at all possible. If something is on paper, get it filed electronically as quickly as you can and dispose.
Yeah. Cyber risks, obviously everyone is aware of that we can have hacks, so people can get into our systems. Just be careful if you get an email in, don't open any attachments unless you know who it's from. Be mindful of any spelling mistakes or whatever in emails, so just be super careful when you get emails in. One thing I will pick up, just be super careful as well about what you put on the system. Make sure you only put factual information, don't put your opinions, or don't send an email to colleagues saying, oh, she's being a pain, or I know it's easy to do then, I know maybe we feel frustrated.
Have people done that?
No, I haven't come across anything yet, but I'm sure we've got things maybe.
But why did you use that as an example then?
I have got examples.
Yeah, but then a minute ago you said people hadn't done it. So people have done it.
There are things on systems beyond that. But if you bear in mind, someone can ask, they've got this right now, someone can ask us for all information that we hold on them. So if we got an email in our outbox.
We've got several at the moment going on, don't we?
Yeah, we have simple access requests. So if they ask for an email that was sent 7 years ago, and maybe I sent an email to you saying she's being a pain, she can have a copy of that to just base any information put on the system or in any email on just facts, purely facts. What else? We will be reviewing our retention period, so we need to delete information once we no longer need it. So we're doing a lot of work around that at the moment, so just look out for that.
And we'll have documented the fact that everything's filed electronically help with that.
Yes, hopefully, because we can. I've started speaking to my Gauntlets, and we can have automated processes of deleting it, or at least it will make it simpler.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, I'll give you an example, right? So theoretically, we could have a kill button at 7 years.
Yeah.
But if we do that, then we need to file a tenancy agreement separately, because you wouldn't want to kill the tenancy agreement after 7 years.
What?
If you see what I mean, because if everything's done in date order that went on to Documotive.
No, you can keep everything on a tenancy until the end of the tenancy. When you need to delete it 7 years after, so there will be something kind of 17.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to think. There has to be some way of separating the information in Documotive so as that the tenancy-related stuff won't get deleted.
Yeah, it's quite. The problem with Documotive is those initial scans where everything was uploaded in one massive document.
So you're trying to blame the people who were here at the time. Are you married? You are.
But yeah, again.
Hang on, just a second.
It was sent out to a company to do all that scanning.
Thank you very much. Continue.
So we just have to make sure that if we don't need that information anymore, we can't keep it. Basically, I was going to say something else as well. What was I going to say?
You're pregnant.
So in the background, we'll be doing a lot more work around demonstrating compliance, which I think is the the biggest change for companies will have to keep logs and policies and strategies and processes. So there'll be loads of those coming out. So keep an eye on them. But on an operational level, I think that's
they're the main things I just wanted to get through.
One thing I'm going to say is
Jesus, I can never cut you off.
Coming back to this email thing, that people can ask for emails going back 10 years. Do we need a decision that we delete all emails sent?
Well, I on my sent emails. On my sent ones though, I on kind of this time every year, I go back and delete everything that's more than a year old.
Yeah, maybe that's good practice. It probably, again, this is just SMT, but we might be making a decision.
I mean, I just told myself, and listen, I'm taking a chance then that I won't need that. But see, in the 10 years we've been at this, I've never needed one. And it's just because like I'm deleting like 9,000 emails at a time or whatever, you know what I mean? So, but it's just too many to keep.
Yeah, and it's just filing. It's something important. I know some things will get missed, but I think we're dealing with subject access requests, the ones where the tenant has asked for all emails between offices with her name or her address in it, going back to 2012, and she has a right to ask for that. And I don't like that. So if we didn't have those emails, we probably don't have a reason to keep them. If we didn't have them, they wouldn't be there. So maybe that's coming your way to just a heads up.
Yeah, and and
sorry, can I just ask, if we delete them and then we delete our deleted file, that gets deleted?
Yeah, there's no backups.
No backups.
If it's a breach, then it's to report it to you and if we lose anything.
I mean, but the reason I do the way I do it is at this time every year, then delete everything before Christmas last year, is that there's still a fair amount of contemporaneous information there, and it's not a case of that I'm trying to hide anything or whatever, you know, apart from the ones where I mentioned you. And but Mara told me about that.
As well. If something does go wrong, if you do come across a breach, or if you think you've done something wrong, it's not about getting anyone in trouble. It's just about learning from the mistakes. And after May, we will have to report them to the ICO, but that doesn't mean that we'll be in trouble. It just means that they have to keep a log of it. So don't be scared of telling us about anything that's gone wrong. It'll be useful information and we can use it to learn.
Yep, good. Okay, Julie, quick update on our award-winning New Homes team and your recent success. Would you like to tell everyone again?
So we were shortlisted for the Welsh Housing Awards New Idea or Approach for 2017. So we all went along to the Vale Resort and we did not win the award that we were shortlisted for. So we were all out dinner with very sad faces.
We were quite immature about it as well, weren't we? I would suggest that probably me more than Annie, where I was able to identify the other housing associations near us and said derogatory things about all of them.
There were spiteful comments made at that table.
I would say though, you were a willing accomplice.
And then the penultimate award is sort of the big one that everyone wants to win, which is called the Members' Choice Award, which is where everyone votes for their favourite shortlisted entry, and we won.
Yeah, and that's the one to win. That's the vote of your peers, isn't it? Yeah, the vote of your peers.
So at that point, we suddenly decided that the awards were very good indeed. It was fair and just.
Yep. And Hugh James bought us a bottle of champagne, and which is very nice. And on my way back, I actually ended up couldn't find our table, and I had to walk around the tables of the housing associations only several minutes previously I had been slagging off, as I couldn't find our table and showed them the bottle of champagne. I said, "Oh, can anyone see the award-winning team anywhere?" And I know I should go up, but I loved it. But Julie, listen. Tell us about what was the nature of the award. What was it that attracted people to our award-winning New Homes team?
So, first of all, as far as I can remember, we were the only what I would call traditional housing management service shortlisted that year. So that was a big deal for us because housing management tends to get overlooked quite easily because it's not
quirky.
Yeah,
Quirky. They love quirky, don't they? Yeah.
It's not niche, but actually it's fundamental to what we do as housing professionals. So that was a big deal for us to get nominated. But I suppose the idea was that we're the only service that has a team devoted to starter tenants, and that alongside our really high void standard, which as far as I know is the highest in Wales that I'm aware of, and the way that we work intensively with starter tenants and what that's meant for us in terms of our arrears and our performance and our turnaround times and everything else. So the fact that we're doing it and nobody else is doing it, and I've already had 2 housing associations ask me for information about what we're doing as a result, because if you're shortlisted, you go in what's called the practice compendium for the year, so we've got like a 2-page feature on what we're doing with contact details, so people read that and go, okay, I'm in contact and find out what's happening.
Yeah, because I've been contacted by, well, North Wales, which I'm on the board anyway, they want to start doing it now. About the void standard and looking at the way the new homes team supported it, and some of the others have spoken about it as well. You know what I mean? So, I mean, what business are we meant to be in? Are we meant to be kind of, here's your property, get the hell in there or shut up, or here's your home? Because the way we used to is we let a property. What we're trying to do now is let a home. That's why it's called the new homes team, not the new tenancy team or whatever. You know what I mean? The point is to make a home, and using vocabulary like that makes a big difference. But if you can't use vocabulary like that and call them apartments, remember a few years ago we started calling them apartments, everyone laughed. And in one sense they were right, because we didn't let them very well. But now the product is much better. They are apartments. They look much better. They do look much smarter. They are somewhere you can move in and have a life straight away, aren't they? So I love it. I think it's gone really well. We had a great night, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was really good, you know. And I would say that I can only do it in slow-mo, but when the ward and Julie stood up and threw her hand away and went, "Muck you!" to the other. So I don't know what the significance of muck is, but you know, I mean, it was a lovely moment. Muck.
Yeah, so
Said may I have muck you then? Okay, Kat, Helen, tell us about the jobs at the moment, please.
Oh, right. Update on active inclusion.
Yeah.
We had a year in that's like the verifier for the project yesterday. We've got everything on the system, and we've exceeded the targets.
Yeah,
we got 8 into employment.
Exceeded the targets over the financial or the calendar year?
That's...
Let me help you, financial!
Yeah, so yeah, we've got 8 into employment on the active inclusion. We had all the positive outcomes, 1 into further learning, 2 into volunteering. So yeah, we've exceeded them targets. So that's now coming to a close. I think we've got 1 more meeting in January with Ian, and then it's wait for the money to come in, which will be really nice. And then Kat can tell you about the jobs.
Yep, come on. But the two of them are the same. Listen, the active inclusion it gets slagged off in the papers, doesn't it? It gets slagged off, this stuff about sending people on a course to go on a course. But that's how far some of these people are away from work. But just about the vast majority of people we see, they have not been given those kind of opportunities before. And once they've been with us a little while and it starts dawning on them that this actually is a true opportunity, they are transformed. And I thought Leroy this year, who came into that, so at our 10th award, won the main award. And this guy has got a backstory that, you know, would make the kind of hair stand on the back of your neck. But the guy is there now, settled with the family, doing a proper job, being really respected, stuff that he wasn't used to, isn't it right?
Yeah, it's far about they've come along. Julie on reception.
Yeah.
You know, they come from, some of them don't go outside the door.
Yeah.
And they haven't got the confidence to interact on a one-to-one basis to start with, let alone in a group, and then we're taking them out of that and putting them into a safe environment for employment, because the safety net is around them, which was Carl and myself. And the host placements, which we had with MHA, we had with external people. Contractors were brilliant. Cosgroves, who took Tony, and Sirs, who've done our training, absolutely tremendous. Yeah, and that's one thing maybe we haven't extracted enough value over the years out of our contractors, and getting them to help more of these people into work, because they don't want to be takers, they don't want to be burdens, they want to be benefits in society, but you've got to teach them that in actual fact it can be a benefit. And I said, even the lady before Julie on reception, not Arlene, what was her name, the girl from Collicott? No, a lot of anxiety. What? Yeah, Colleen, yeah, so she's working in a pub now or something, this and of all things. But here are people who suffer from anxiety, who are being put on a reception here, where lots of people coming in, actually is really, really difficult for them. But yeah, we're getting them confident on reception and getting them on out into jobs where there's a lot more people interaction. Then amazingly enough, the anxiety starts decreasing because they're getting a more human interaction. The confidence has been built, and we can really, really transform lives. So anyway, Kat, tell us about the jobs.
Yeah, so we've been running active inclusion alongside our core working skills wide service.
Just remember, the active inclusion is to get people a long way from the workforce back into it, and then the other one is to get people who are closer to the workforce into it.
Yeah, and luckily we had some of our clients that we were working with through our core service that we could have been through active inclusion. So Sue that you've seen throughout the office, she was someone I was working with for 3 years before, but the active inclusion project gave her a boost then into a paid work placement, which took the fear out of going into, going from benefits into paid work. So that worked really well. But we've got 40 through our financial year so far. We've got 44 tenants as a side from active inclusion to work.
Yeah, that's a tremendous achievement. That's keep it up. Keep it up. Now listen, the key, of course, what we found, who are the people, the tenants in the most trouble with regards to paying rent? They're the people who are in low paid work. So getting people into work isn't just the answer. What we've now, of course, discovered is that we'll have to go back at these people, see if we can get them into further training so they can get better paid work. But the reality is you can't go from nothing into well paid work. You're going to have to go through that intermediate pain, which is when you're going through low paid work, getting experience so that you can then move on into better paid work. But remember, my vision always on our estates at 8 o'clock every morning, the estate is busy because everyone's getting up to go to work. Okay? There's nobody hanging around all day. Everybody's out of work, everybody's earning, everybody's got the self-esteem that comes from that, and hopefully then we'll get a lot of people into better paid work eventually, which will make our estates economically vibrant places and worthwhile places to live. I think, just reflecting back to what Dave said, despite the fact a lot of our tenants are in low paid work and very low paid and very low wages, 85% of them are still really looking after the property and really looking after the tenancy. Another 10% with a little bit of help that's 95%. And then we're just down to the 5%, which really are the safety net, which is, if organisations like us weren't here, these people would be sleeping in doorways in Abergavenny. And that's, remember, what we're here for. You see a lot of stuff lately about the amount of homelessness in Cardiff and Swansea and places like this. Well, there are reasons, some of the reasons for that is that's where the money's put to help them. But on the other hand, they gravitate to those places anyway. Unfortunately, when they get there, there's nowhere for them to go, and it's tragic going around. That stuff is spice stuff that's going around at the moment. I went by a load of guys in it the other night, just they're on one in a wheelchair, paralysed in a wheelchair, haven't taken this stuff. It is just absolutely tragic, and if we aren't out there helping and hopefully eventually people like that, who the hell is? There ain't going to be anybody doing it. So keep it up. It's all good, all well worthwhile work. Some of these quick messages I've got to tell you. Non-related work messages are to go on in-house going forward. That the group emails will be taken off email, because see, you got to remember, much of this is useful. We got, say, like 250 staff, and 249 of them did not leave the pair of glasses in the disabled toilet downstairs, which was the email during the week. Now, I know I wasted some time, because whenever I get emails like that, I always send it to saying, I think Steve Higginson did it. And I waste some more organisational time. But that kind of stuff has got to go. It's too many people are getting emails that they don't need to see. We need to cut down. That kind of stuff will be going in-house from now on. You'll see that the group emails will disappear. I have asked that I be allowed to keep sending them, but maybe they tell me to bugger off as well, so who knows. Okay, eBuzz is now electronic version only, so when you log on you'll be able to get into eBuzz. Make sure you read it. It gives you an idea of what's going on apart from what I tell you here. Staff 10-year celebration party, 19th of January. You will be paid beforehand. It'll be in the Celtic manner. Listen, we've gone through a hell of a journey over the past 10 years. The transformation about what it was. I think we need to sit down and bore the living shit out of everybody who wasn't here at transfer, just to tell them what actually it was like, and the ways that we used to work, and the quality of the service that we used to give. Remember, we were the organisation that liked to say no. Yes, we like to say no. And part of our transformation, actually from transfer going forward, is training people to say yes. I remember I've alluded to this before. Saying no was easy. When you say no, you create no extra work, because the answer is no, and you don't have to do anything. When you say yes, every time you say yes, you create work. And part of the culture change that we had to go through is that, yeah, you should have it, and yes, we will do it, and yes, it is more work, but it's the right thing to do. And that is part of the cultural transformation that we've had to do here. It's a little bit like talking about Mike, when one interesting talking about Dave to die earlier on, the electrician. and he was saying years ago when they go out to do one repair on the electrics, but often the electrics are so shot in the property, they went out for one job, but they'd be there for 2 days. Well, now he's saying, you know, when they're going out, Michael backed this up, to repair maybe one socket. Or the decision we're having to do now is should I replace the consumer unit, four roses and light fittings and 5 sockets, is about whether I should recharge the tenant for that one socket that's cracked or not. Now that's a hell of a different place to be from where we were at point of transfer. The properties are much better insulated, the windows and doors are much better. You know, my favourite one always about the doors. Before transfer, the police loved our doors because they leaned against the door fell in, they could go and get the drugs. But now it takes them so long to break down the door that the people have time to flush away the drugs. So now they've got to send out 2 squad cars rather than one, because they have to have one fella lifting up the manhole cover with his hand down the drain to catch the drugs on the way past, because by the time they break down the door and get in, blah blah blah. No, these are stereotypes, but it is. That thing that when the police rang up and asked us to put crap doors back on again, I was really proud of that. I was really proud of that, because it meant that we were doing the right thing. It meant that we were doing the right thing compared to what we had before, and we were ashamed of what we had before transfer. It was so different to what we had now. We really should have kept more photographs. Even simple things like we had Michelle. Michelle developed tuberculosis in the area office in Collicott, didn't you, Michelle? And it was awful. It was a poorly insulated cardboard box. Mice infested. Yeah. Suzanne was with it. Suzanne used to feed the mice. So yeah, she'd give her not a take. She loved animals. It was long before Blue Planet came along. Suzanne was keeping the mice population of Monmouthshire up to critical mass levels. And it was disgrace. You know, they were in Abergavenny Town Hall, which looks lovely on the outside, but the offices were rubbish on the inside. The walls were 9 foot thick and the offices were 2 foot wide. You know, things like where all the filing was. Just about everything is different, everything is better, everything has changed. And these are the kind of things we need to remind ourselves about. And everybody here has played a part in making a massive difference between what it was like then and what it is now. And I really want everybody to turn up on the 19th. You know, it's free, and we will offset the cost as much as possible to make sure that we have a really great night, but that we celebrate properly. That remember, if you're not doing anything useful, you won't be here. You know, that's the reality. Everybody here is doing something important and necessary. And I've just got to say that about the improvement in the DLO since transfer in particular. Because who was in charge of DLO, Dave, before transfer? No, it wasn't Christmas. No, above that. Who was that? Yeah, you know where I'm going with this, Becky, don't you? Becky's dad. Okay, Becky's dad. Okay, you knew where I was going with that because you were laughing long before the penny dropped with Dave. But listen, you know, and we had at that time 10 million pounds turnover we had, of which we only could spend 7 million because the rest of the money either went in repaying debt that we already had or paying towards the centre of running the council. Now we've got 21 million. We're spending each year up to 12 million pounds on our properties. You know what I mean? Before we were spending 3. We're spending 12 million pounds now. That is a hell of a different proposition compared to where we were before. Getting all these people into work, we used to get anyone into work. Nobody get into work with us. You know what? Here this Christmas now, between you guys, nearly 50 properties are full of people who are, you know, earning money to buy the presents to give to the kids. That's a hell of a different proposition about and this is just repeated across the way, across everything we do. And that's why I really think everyone should be there. It is worth celebrating. What we've done is worth celebrating, and what you've contributed to it is worth being rewarded for as well. Okay, so that's on the 19th of January. The rent debt campaign over the next 2 weeks. We've got 2 rent-free weeks at Christmas. And although in Ireland 2 is like that number, but when we say to a lot of tenants that it's 2 weeks rent-free, they take that many rent-free weeks. And the trouble is, of course, and even longer, and not many do, and a fair amount do to a greater or lesser extent, but not loads of them don't. But nevertheless, what happens then is they end up in a lot of debt in January. And it's very difficult for them because of limited income to pay off that debt. It takes them many months to do it, and before you know it, Christmas has arrived again. And really, we're trying to encourage the people, although we have 2 rent-free weeks, pay in something, keep your rent account up to date. Don't end up in January January is a drab month. Two things happen in January. People go off the beer and they get rent arrears letters from us. As sure as night follows day, that's why everyone's January. Then neither of them are some stuff that people look forward to. And frequently by then, particularly if they're taking the 4 weeks, Christmas is just over and they get a notice of seeking possession from us. You know what I mean? What a shit way to start your January. And really you just it's generally speaking 4 weeks rent shell, isn't it? Which will trigger the notice, isn't it?
It can, yes.
Yeah, so if you just keep your rent a little bit below that, you won't get a notice. We'll work with you properly to reduce that debt. We'll come to an arrangement. Hopefully you'll stick to it and we'll get things back rocking and rolling again. We've got significantly more problems because just a quick update on welfare reform there, Shell, if you don't mind.
Well, in the budget the government announced some really significant changes to universal credit that will help people. The big news for Monmouthshire is that our go-live date has been pushed back to the end of June now. It was supposed to have been in March, so that does give us an extra 3 months to prepare, but we do feel as if we've been preparing welfare reform probably for the last 4 or 5 years. I think despite all the changes to welfare reform that our tenants have had to endure and the benefits freeze, I think our rent arrears levels have stayed very low.
Yeah,
we are
incredible.
One of the lowest rent arrears in Wales.
With some of the highest rents.
Yes.
With some of the highest rents, and with some of the lowest tenant income.
Yeah, so I think despite the perfect storm that's out there, you know, our tenants are in the main paying their rent, but they are obviously being hit in the pocket very hardly. And that's where projects like the Working Skills Based project about helping tenants come off benefits and get into work are so crucial, and our internal money advice services and stuff. But I think, you know, the income team should be congratulated on, you know, maintaining an excellent performance over the last 12 months, really. And we are seeing the tenants that we do have on universal credit, we've only got a handful of them, but their arrears are coming down. They did peak at 12%, and they're down now, I think, to 7. So
yeah, just under 7.
Yeah. We need to get them down to 5, don't we?
Yeah.
So, but that leads us seamlessly on to the rent first. Maybe you might want to say something about that?
Yeah, something that we're going to be promoting in the business now in the new year is about, you know, we're not going to be able to do all this work on our properties. We're not going to be able to build new homes if we do not get the rental income in. You know, so it's really important that we can't rely on 6 people. We've got 2 of our income officers here now. We can't rely on
I'm coming to them in a few minutes. Go ahead.
Our income team to bring in all this money. It's you know, getting the rent.
It's a corporate
and having
responsibility.
Those rent conversations with tenants is really important, especially when they're trying to access other services in the business. Yet their income officer could be ringing them, writing to them, calling to them. They're not engaging their income.
Channel shift, texting them.
Texting them, but they're in rent arrears and won't speak to us about, you know, trying to address that debt. So it's really important that we take a corporate approach to rent first and having those conversations with tenants. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that in the new year. Right.
Well, speaking of the new members of staff, because the three tops are going to sing Fairy Tale of New York for us now. On you go. Come on. Sing. Sing.
John's going to do the male part.
Come on then.
No.
Go on. You can't come in the 19th if you don't sing. Okay, listen, because a lot of people don't know who you are, so we better do some quick introductions. John, Tees and Toilets. Isn't it you? No, hang on. Which one of you was I talking about the teas? Was it you?
It was me.
No, I went up the usual stuff and said about teas and toilets. And I said, oh yeah, well, actually the toilet on the middle floor is not really great. Wasn't that one of you three? Must have been somebody else. Anyway, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Oh, the toilet's in the middle floor aren't great. Give him a bit of a clean. And the old women floor in the first toilet caused a lot of controversy here over the years. Like, tell everyone who you are and what you do, quick.
Oh, Chris, I work in IT. I've been here 2 years.
No, I know who you are. You're telling them. Yeah, but I'm not sure you know who you are or not. He's the guy who comes down to turn it on, turn it off, and turn it back on again. Don't be awkward, Christian. All right, take a bit of it, bloody chill there. We're trying to let the ladies know who everybody else is. All right. He snapped a bit there, didn't he? I think we got found your weak spot. Come on, Emma.
I know corporate services. I met Stacey the other day in one of the
How do you know each other?
sessions. I met Stacey at one of the winter warmer sessions.
Oh, all right, fair enough then, right.
At the weddings.
I'm Becky in building services, so you can find me in that office.
Yeah, and she spent the last 10 years undoing the damage her dad did.
I'm Nathan, I'm from corporate services. We've already met. I've gone to attendance.
I'm Catherine, I'm temporary neighbourhood officer at the minute. I'm like a yo-yo, I keep coming back. I've seen it all stages.
Where have you worked before, Catherine?
Where?
Yeah.
Where hasn't she worked?
Including
Yeah.
Monmouthshire.
She started her career in housing in Monmouthshire though.
Oh, did you?
She did.
Was that before I was here?
Yeah.
A long time before you were
All right, oh, bloody hell.
It's my 15-year anniversary on the 3rd of January.
Oh my God. Oh, double celebration on the 19th.
Yes.
Okay, right, welcome back again and again and again.
I'm Jen. I'm not quite as new as Stacey, but newish. Also, say 2 months, I think, now here at Monmouthshire.
I'm Stacey. I think I've met pretty much all of you. I think it's my 5th week now.
How do you manage to meet so many people? Are you doing any bloody work? I was just wandering around. Oh, I don't know that person. I'll be back in a few minutes. Look after the phones for it.
I think it's important to meet everyone around the business.
Okay, it's the right answer, but don't get. You're getting a bit of a smart ass now. Okay, it's the good answer. Quick.
Hi girls, you know where I am in Canada.
Oh, well, you know Stacey, we know that, anyway. Pete?
Yeah, I'm Peter, I'm at the facilities team.
Julie, your home's here.
I'm caring in building services, look after the electrical.
Emma from corporate services.
Because you hadn't done an introduction before either, had you?
No job.
What do you do in corporate services, Emma? You're not wandering around the business like Stacey because you know hardly anyone.
Performance admin.
Right, yeah.
Snap reports, customer satisfaction, feedbacks.
Yeah. So she's the one who snitches on all of you to me. Yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. We're not part of it. Catherine?
Kat, I work for Wicked Children.
Tim the gardener.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, bloody hell! Wake up, Dopey! God, this really is Christmas. Where are the other 6 dwarves then? You know what I mean? Come on, Dopey.
Yeah, I'm Tim. I'm surveyor working in asset management.
Daniel, work with Tim upstairs in asset management.
Oh, you hadn't introduced yourself to everyone either. So what are you doing in asset management now?
Looking at the external works with Tim and also the garages and placement refurbishment. So.
And how's that? And you used to work with Malene, didn't you?
I did.
Yes? So which is the better organisation?
Definitely.
Yeah. See Tim? Huh? Didn't have to kick. Yeah. Yeah. No, you won't. Vicky?
I'm Vicky, I'm corporate services.
No, you're more than that.
And I do marketing.
Yes, because there are other people in corporate services, not you. Hiya, I'm corporate services. No, you're not. There's loads of other people up there working hard as well, Vicky. You know. All right, so tell us what you've been marketing lately.
We've been doing quite a lot of stuff around Capsule, just kind of sell gas and heating services now coming into winter and it's getting a bit colder, and they've got a competition to rename home services, which we're doing on social media, and we've also been doing some welfare reform, social media posts to try and get people to get ready for universal credit and save.
And what's been your best marketing gimmick this year?
The hot air balloon.
Yeah, hot air balloon, yeah. Did it have the ride yet?
You've got to do it between March and October, so with the prize, they can't do it till March because of the balloon season. But they've had the prize, they just can't use it.
Well, I never. What about up there in these frosty mornings? Well, you can't do it in a frosty morning, can you not?
The gas will expand, it's too cold.
Yeah, it's too cold.
What the flame thing? Was that not to heat up the gas?
Well, yeah, but you know.
Technically, I
Minus
know.
11
Technically, I bet you can go up. It's just been lazy. Okay, well, right, okay. But that was very popular, wasn't it?
That was very popular.
Yeah. We need to keep doing stuff like that. Okay, Dominique?
I am Dominique, I work in building services.
As opposed to you are building services.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just how razor sharp are you today, Dominique? Yeah, Shell.
I'm Michelle from Housing Communities. I think you all know me.
Hi. Do you know Stacey?
I know Stacey very well.
Very well. Stacey, you've been really undermined here today.
I'm Graham, a graphic designer.
Yeah.
I'm Tony, I work in finance.
Tony looks quite well. This time last year, Tony fell off his bike and nearly died, okay? But before he fell off the bike, he looked a mess, okay? Then he fell off the bike, nearly died, and actually, I've got to say, you're still looking great, Tony. And it's one of those things, you know, it seems ironic, but you nearly dying was the best thing to ever happen to you. Isn't that right? How are you feeling yourself?
I'm feeling fine, thanks. You slightly exaggerated that.
No, Tony, I swear to God, man. No, Tony, I don't. I've always said it to you. What?
Slightly misconstrue the fact.
Busted.
For the camera. Tony the bastard. Tony, you and I are buddies. That's frozen.
Married?
Huh? You're married? What?
I'm married.
There's just looked at one little eye in an hour missing there, and all of a sudden we could have had a right bit of gossip there. Oh my God, you're carrying Tony's love child! I never! Well, I never! Tony! Oh my God, stud!
Too far. I'm married. Risk and assurance team, so we deal with corporate risk, internal audit, data protection, insurance, and the compliance bits.
So,
I'm Joanne, I'm the financial accountant.
do you think, have you got the same opinion of me as Tony? No. Right, so you're scared of Tony, are you? Tony, stop intimidating the female members of staff. There's been a lot of shit in the newspaper about that lately. It's not good.
I'm Suzanne and I work in building services.
And she's really helpful who ring out of hours.
I'm David, we've met.
And I'm Anthony and I work in neighbourhoods.
And you're also my sparring partner in Chepstow.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. We had a lovely meeting in Chepstow recently where about 20 tenants were telling me and Anthony just how bad a job they thought we were doing down there. Yeah. Actually, they thought we were doing so bad. We were invited out by some local councillors who then proceeded to abandon the meeting they had called because things got too hot, leaving me and Anthony there, didn't they?
They haven't turned up to any meetings since.
They have to not? Oh, mission accomplished. Give that man a promotion.
Yes, please.
Okay. I was joking. Okay, right. Was there anything else?
Business plan.
Oh yeah, business plan. Yeah. That's going okay. You're spending too much. You in particular, Tim. Okay, Daniel. You know where I am with money now? Yeah? More for less? More for less, alright, Daniel?
Sure.
Huh? Look at me, Daniel. Don't look away. Don't look for Tim for help. Me and Tim have known each other a long time, so Tim has reached that couldn't give a shit stage. So you're about 4 decades away from that yet. Okay. Okay, thank you all very much. Enjoy, that thing is still going on out in reception.
Yes,
please go out and see what your colleagues are up to, doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, any questions? No? Okay, by the way, just to be absolutely clear, what I said about Tony was a lie. Okay.